Good morning, Gemini, and thank you so much for giving me a couple minutes here to get everything set up. I hope that your day or your evening is off to a good start here. We have a lot of beautiful messages coming through for you. Really, it's about thinking big and going big this month based on the totem that came through, which I'll get into in just a second. I'm going to put Apollo down so he can focus. You can tell he just woke up because his hair is all over the place here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to begin looking at the sign of Gemini, and you can use this as a reading for your sun, rising, moon, also for Venus. If you really know all about your chart, you can really use it for any aspect, but I typically recommend that people look at it at least for the sun, rising, and moon, because that gives you a nice sort of feel of what's going on in your life. Now, the way that I organize it is I start off with some channeled messages, which are in front of me. These come to me in a few different methods. I use basically divination here, which we'll use the tarot in a second, but the channeled messages come through me in dreams, meditation, and channeled writing. So we really access a lot of different tools here to give you a full picture of what's coming through. I enjoy the beginning part because it really is just me exercising sort of like my third eye. So we'll talk about that in a second. Then we'll get into the cards. The cards give us a chance to look a little bit deeper at opportunities and potential blocks that could be coming through for you. All of this is about empowerment. You should walk away feeling better and knowing what's available to you, and then you get to choose because free will is always a part of this. After I look at that center portion, which I open up to be whatever it needs to be, it's not just love. It's a lot of times my work here is about your own soul and what you should be focusing on for growth and opportunity. And if that means love, love will come through. If it means something else, that'll come through. We'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny in the expanded forecast. We'll do a mini review, meditation, and then at the very end, I will take a final question from you, which you'll give to me sort of like just through a psychic meditation, and I'll answer that question. That's everything in a nutshell. And before we get started, just two quick notes. First of all, welcome everybody. It's good to see some familiar faces and some brand new ones. If you happen to be a new one and you like what you see here, at some point, think about hitting like and subscribe. It's optional, but it does help with discovery. So if you like it, think about it. And subscribing doesn't cost anything, but it helps other people find the channel too. You can also follow me on social media. More information on that is in the pinned comment above. And if you want to give back in a sustaining way, you can become a channel member. That is a way that basically not only can you get some perks, but you'll also be able to vote on upcoming collective readings. And you can do that. If you want to also just give something here in the moment, you can do super sticker, super chat, as little as like 99 cents. Again, it helps me continue to buy new decks, and I'll be using one of those new decks today. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead now and take a look at your spirit totem. By the way, I don't take questions because I go into a channeled state as I do these readings, so I appreciate your patience. That question moment comes at the end, and at that point you can, like I said, use that moment to kind of meditate on something, and I'll pull a single card. So I know some readers will do questions. I don't do that just because I need to stay focused. All right, so today, when I was dreaming last night, I need to bring up the image here, so I'm going to bring it up really quickly. I was looking at something that was really, really large. I had a hard time figuring out if it was a whale or a shark, and lo and behold, there's actually something called a whale shark. So it's a shark that's kind of like the size of a whale. So let me bring up a few images of this gorgeous creature. And I'm going to see if I can get, I'm going to pull a picture up also of a person so we can kind of see like a size comparison with the whale shark, which is kind of cool. So unlike a shark, this is going to be a creature that does not pose any threat or harm to us. It's basically just a large filter feeder. It would basically eat plankton and fish. So let's take a quick look at one of these photos. It's kind of weird, right? It has this really big mouth, two very small eyes, and let's take another look at it. As you can see, there's really like no large teeth though. Like a whale, it would basically just open its mouth and it filters out stuff that most other animals wouldn't eat. All the little plankton, any sort of fish eggs that might be out there, tiny fish, but to humans, it poses no threat. So I'll see if I can later, I'll put it on Twitter so I can kind of do a size comparison, but it is enormous. It's like a truck, basically, like many of the whales would be. So in fact, to give you an exact sort of how long it is, it's actually wider than it is long, but or longer than it is wide, rather. It can be 62 feet or 18.8 meters, which that's really large. So anyway, this is going to be important in a moment. So whale shark, largest known extant or living creature on the planet, fish-wise rather, and they feed by opening their mouth, filter feeding, mostly smaller fish and plankton, and it's docile. It will not present any harm or any sort of risk to human beings. Given its size and longevity, it can actually live very close or longer than a human lifespan between 80 to 120 years. I see this as a symbol of luck, longevity, and abundance. Very nice combination of things, actually. Don't be intimidated by others. That's the one thing that came through when I was researching this. Because of its size, because of its sort of imposing appearance, you may assume, uh-oh, I'm in trouble, but actually this is a gentle giant. It's just a docile, sweet creature that can sometimes come across in the wrong way. So don't be surprised if other people may be intimidated by you, even if you don't think you're intimidated, and don't let your intimidation hold you back from approaching someone else. This is a sort of, it's an ironic and also kind of like opposite of what it seems totem, where you shouldn't be afraid. It's telling me that there's something that's within reach, that if you try to kind of have a conversation with someone at work or in your circle of friends, they may be more open to it than you think, even though initially it feels like, uh-oh, this person's out of my league, or this is going to be difficult. If you go about it in the right way, I think you might have luck. Again, this is probably for people you already know, but just might feel a little bit uneasy about kind of taking that next step with, okay? Work on breaking the ice, putting them at ease, focusing on body language. You definitely want to listen to what they have to say. This is not saying that, if they give you the signal that they're not interested, that you shouldn't listen to that. This is more about your own fear holding you back from approaching something, be it a job, a friendship, or maybe a romantic opportunity. You have to at least put yourself out there, because this particular totem is showing me that it's probably a lot better than you think. Okay. Thank you so much for all the support. I appreciate that. Okay. Next piece that came through was, it's an interesting thing to kind of think about. Sometimes I encourage you to not listen to people around you, especially if the information that they're giving you is holding you back from doing something that you want. But there are specific points in time where people can see your potential long before you can, because they're objective, because they're outside of this, right? So we don't notice the change in our mind, body, and spirit as much as someone who maybe hasn't seen us in a while, or only sees us for a very small amount of time per week or per day. So if somebody else sees something and it's a potential for you for growth, or maybe they say something that's very complimentary and you think that's not me, it might be you, because you just look in the mirror every day and you don't notice the changes as much, even energetically. So if others see your potential, feel free to explore it, because again, they could be onto something. They could be intuitive, and they could be picking up on something that's within your reach and within your sort of trajectory or destiny. So if you have a mentor, a friend, or someone that you trust, and they say, I think this would be good for you, I think you should try that, I think you can do it, and immediately you kind of clam up and start to have sweaty palms or panic, it's probably just a fear of going into the unknown, sometimes even a fear of success, not wanting to get out of your comfort zone. So that was an interesting piece that came through as I was meditating on this particular totem. I want you to also think big, go expansive in your thoughts. It's not the time to be shy, subtle, or quiet. It's also not the time to basically reduce or water down something too much. Whenever I get a whale or a shark, or that combination of the two, a shark that's as big as a whale, this would tell me that it's more important to kind of go keep that big idea, keep the essence of who you are, what you're trying to do. Don't water it down. Don't go small. Don't go tiny. We want to have that sort of big voice, big vision, big idea. This is also, even though it's in the sea, we have to kind of like think of it in the terms of the tarot here. I would associate this with like the star or the world. It's that big. It's that sort of impactful. So basically, it's time to be seen, and it's time to lead others. And this is a gentle giant. So for some of you, leadership or visibility could put you in a place of discomfort. Nonetheless, there is some sort of leadership or visibility opportunity on the horizon. So I think that's going to be really important for you as well. So I do research, as you can tell, when I look at these different totems. I looked at the way this particular animal takes things in. It's a filter feeder. So if we pick that apart a little bit, I think discernment is going to be super important for you this month. Be discerning, be picky, be mindful of what you invest your time and energy in this month. It's ever so important because it's filtering things to feed itself. The same thing goes into kind of like our day-to-day expenditure of energy. If you're doing something, does it return that sort of sense of, yeah, this feels good. Yeah, I want to do more. Yeah, I'm looking forward to do this. Or are you feeling as the day progresses, oh my goodness, why isn't it 6 o'clock? Why isn't it Friday yet? When do I have my next day off? If you're getting any of those thoughts and it's a recurring thing, it's not just once or twice in a week, that's a red flag that you're not kind of like in the best possible space, whether this is a relationship, a job, or an activity. If you're constantly hitting the fast forward button, it's telling you that this is no longer sort of sustaining. But if you can't wait to get there, or if you feel like you want to hit pause and really sit there and drink it all in, the inverse is true. So let's get to that point where it feels really good. Be picky about who you work with, what you spend your time on, what you take into your mind, body, and spirit, because it's going to be really important. We want to have things that are continuing to lift you up and feed you in a positive way. All right. Because this is something that eats and takes in a lot, this is actually really good for retaining and absorbing information. So you're capable of consuming, absorbing, and understanding great or vast amounts of data this month. Think of this as 8 or maybe 3 of Pentacles, depending on if you're doing revision or kind of finalizing something. It's time to basically learn. It's time to absorb. Pick up a book, take a class, do something that exercises your mind and memory. For those of you that are retired, it could actually just be something that's a hobby that keeps this part of your body moving. We always need something. I think it's important to have a schedule, a purpose, a goal, a dream. Always, after we achieve one, get another one. They're free. So just kind of think about things that you want to work on and keep this part of your mind busy. Some of you might be in this unenviable position of being busy and bored. That's happened to me in the distant past when I used to do more traditional jobs where, you know, it's just sort of like there's a lot to do and it's a little bit mentally taxing, but you're not really engaged. That is also really difficult because then you have the stress of working hard. It's here and then it's also in your body. For those of you that might be doing something that's also maybe physically difficult, but mentally you're disengaged, that's also dangerous because you can get bored and then fall asleep or something can happen. So we want to try to keep the mind engaged because it has this capacity to absorb, to go further. And I want you to take advantage of that. So expansion here, growth here, and this matters as much as this. So we want to kind of connect the heart and the mind to make sure that you're not just going through the motions. Okay, so then the last piece is really interesting. When I first saw the symbol, this whale shark, I saw something following me. And I was a little nervous because of the size of it until I saw it. And then also this morning did the research because it didn't look that scary. When I pulled up the pictures, you can tell it's just got this big mouth, but there's not scary teeth. It doesn't have the big fins that a traditional shark does. It just looks like a whale to me. So someone's kind of trying to pursue you is what I saw. This could be auspicious. It could be a job, could be a potential partner, could be a friend that's interested in talking to you. I want you, though, to use your own intuition to discern if you want that. And if you want it, say something. And if you don't, also signal that. Because in my vision, I saw running and it didn't help. The shadow kind of came faster. So just as in energy work, in real life, turn around and say yes or no to whatever this is, opportunity, person, or fear, and just kind of like let it know where you stand. So if it's energy, or the person if they're in like real life, but there's something that needs to be addressed. And it seemed like the shadow was bigger than the actual thing. So there's just a little fear or uncertainty around it. But just like the whale shark, it might be a gentle giant. It may not be a big deal. When you specifically say yes or no to something, then it can show up the way it needs to. And that's the main message for the whale shark. Lots of little pieces to that to kind of take in, but it was a really cool totem. And I wasn't even aware that there was a combination of the two. Maybe I'd seen it in the past, but Usually it's one or the other. So just a really big shark that has that sort of gentle energy of a whale. All right, let's move on to the next piece here. This was also something that I got in dreams, and then I meditated on it this morning to try to understand it a little bit more. It feels like there's something worth getting prepared, like dressing up for it, whether it's a job or an interview or maybe a date. I couldn't quite discern. The interesting thing is sometimes a date feels just like a job interview, depending on who you're going out with. So it could be a combination of the two. But let's focus first on the outfit. I saw you picking. You bought a lot of clothes, actually, too many, and from my point of view, probably too expensive for this particular meeting. People are really interested in your energy. I think it's important to look good. I was paying attention to either it looked like it was a jacket or a blazer, and maybe the shirt underneath it. That's the most important thing. I feel like the rest of it you could combine from your existing wardrobe. If you get something like a nice jacket, you can then, and it was a little trendy looking, it doesn't have to be a traditional stuffy one. You can put a pair of jeans and a white t-shirt with that, and it looks really cool, or a white crisp button-up shirt. And then you have kind of like a modern take on something that you would interview with. So maybe don't go overboard, maybe pick one or two items and that's it, because they just wanted to see that you put the effort in and that you were present and energetically engaged with them. Because then I saw you with an empty wallet going back to the store, returning a bunch of stuff. So basically, don't overdo it. Don't overspend. But I do want you to pay attention to your appearance. What's more important than the appearance, though, is the homework and the presence that you give when you're at that important meeting. So know your audience, know who you're talking to. That's just as important as what you look like. Okay? So yeah, basically, don't overspend when it comes. Pick one or two items, and I think that's the main thing here. I do like that you're spending time and you're caring about that. That means that there's something invested, something at stake here. If it is a first interview, you make a good impression there, or it's an interview, make a good first impression. If it's a date, however, it felt way too formal. It felt like you were interrogating the person. And this can happen if you're nervous. Have you ever noticed that you just go into 20 questions and start asking the person way too many things and talking too much? So take a deep breath, give them some space, see what's going on, enjoy wherever you're at. Let it be a little bit more organic. Questions will come up naturally, but it's good to also just talk about other things going on. So give it some space, give it some time, and don't kind of go through all these questions and talk too fast. I think that was what I was kind of getting there. Even on the interview as well, just when you are at ease with yourself, when you have everything prepared. There's a reason that I do this. It's so that I don't read them specifically everything word for word. I glance at it and it reminds me what I want to talk about. So I spend about an hour to an hour and a half before I show up to prepare. So you do the same thing for a job interview, and it just makes it easier. But you don't have to go just by the book here. This is a starting point. So take a little cue from what I do here, which is you do the homework, you have some ideas, but in real time, just as I might receive new things, if it's not on the card, I still say it. Or if I look at a card and I think I've already covered that, I don't have to say the same thing. So just let the conversation flow. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. The other thing that was coming through was that I've been picking up, even for myself, a much more sort of, I'm sensing that spirit is more present than it normally is. So for some of you, you may be expecting spirit, and I'm talking about your intuition, whether it's your guides, your ancestors, if you have clairvoyant abilities. I sense that the veil is a little thinner than it normally is. So over the course of the next month or so, this can be used for 6 to 8 weeks, but over the course of the next month, work with spirit a little bit. Send some intentions out there. Say, hey, I really need some help with this. Give me a sign, give me a clear sign, and give it to me something today so I know what I'm doing. Am I on the right track? Meditate, hold space for spirit. I think I did in one of my intuitive development videos, I talked about having an appointment with spirit. And I had some questions at the time, like, what does that mean? If you consistently show up, say it's a certain amount of time per day or a certain day a week, or you just make sure that you're adding time to your calendar, even if it's not a consistent time, but you're showing up every week, spirit will know that, hey, this person's invested. I'm going to start to invest in them. I'm going to show up as well. One of the reasons I set a date and a time and a sign so that you can show up, so that I can show up and spirit can come through and today can talk to Gemini. So there is something about an intention. I intend to work with you today, therefore I will bring messages forth, therefore I get it in dreams, meditations, etc. So do the same in your life. If you're trying to figure something out, set an appointment and keep it. Just like I keep my appointments with you, keep it with spirit, okay? So that's the main thing here. Receive and open yourself up to receive. Again, kind of working off our main spirit totem, which is this absorption, big kind of animal. It can kind of filter in and bring in a lot. You can do a lot with spiritual energy this month. Remember also that messages are not always what you see in a movie or a book. They can be subtle. So it can be a persistent thought, a feeling. It can also be something that you see externally in your environment. So a song, something that you see on TV, something that you read in a book that reminds you of something that someone said or triggers some sort of an epiphany. All of these things count. Intuition and spirit works through whatever channel it can find. So a license plate number, a billboard, a radio ad, something that you see on TV, all of these things are also spirit working because you chose to tune into that channel or look at that thing at that moment. So just the same way that we pick a card from a deck, spirit's working with you, always working with you, okay? So know that however subtle it might be, it's still strong, it's still powerful, you're still getting what you need. So just be open and find your own language, your own symbols when it comes to spiritual connections. The next thing that was coming through in meditation in particular was an emphasis on workspace. It looked to me like there was like a new office. Some of you may still be working from home because of the continual pandemic and the way that we're changing. You might even have opted to do that. Then I want you in that case to take some time and really create a space that feels good for you. Make the space truly a workspace and make sure that you have good equipment, good lighting, that everything is the way it needs to be, just like it would be in an office, especially if this is going to be a longer term thing. If you're going back to an office, you might need to reacclimate yourself to what it's like to be there. And if it's a hybridized thing, you're going to have to figure out how that works for you. It could also symbolize an opportunity on the horizon or holding space. Because when I look at an office, it can also be like someone wanting to meet with you. I've got a couple of things this month that could be either a date, an appointment, or an interview. This came through more of Ace of Pentacles, but a lot of these things could be Ace of Pentacles or Ace of Cups. It's up to you, kind of like what you want. And I think how engaged you are and how open you are also matters, which is why it's blurring a little bit between opportunity and love or fun. Finally, make sure that you have room to grow. The totem that came through today, and we've really been focusing primarily on that during this sort of channel portion. It's a whale. I mean, it's a whale shark. It's gigantic. So you should have room to grow. You should have room to breathe. This includes relationships and jobs. This also includes anything that you might be doing in your life that's kind of like making you feel engaged. So just make sure that there is an end goal to whatever you're doing and that you see growth, you see potential. Otherwise, you're just sort of like in that hamster wheel, I sometimes call it, like the 5 of Wands. You just feel like you're going and going, but not really getting anywhere, right? So this month, it's important to think big and think about what that end point, that end goal is, all right? So quick little mini review. You had a whale shark coming through. It is a peaceful animal. It lives a long time. It filters its food, which reminds us to discern and to be picky about things. But what I got with this was kind of like world and star-like energy. So you have this chance to make a splash, make an impact, to do something important. You also have a chance to really absorb a lot. So take advantage of that. And part of making an impact doesn't mean that you have to go overboard in kind of like looks and appearances. I want you to pay attention to it. But one of the warnings here was not to go overboard and spend too much. It's more about how much of a connection you can make with the person. And just making sure that you have good hygiene and wearing something that looks great. You don't have to go overboard. And as we just talked about at the end, setting time to connect to your source, to your muse, to spirit as well, is going to be important for personal growth. Plus, it's just a really effective time to do that. So I'm going to stack up all of these cards. We'll do a little mini review at the center. So if you missed anything, don't worry. I also, usually by the next day, I will post all of these on social media. It just depends on my schedule. I'm only one person in this team, except for my moderators. So it takes me a while to do all of the recaps, to put in the time codes. So don't expect the time codes 5 minutes after it's done. I will get all that done in about a day or less, sometimes by this evening. Okay, so we're going to move along now to the Celtic Cross. At this point, I'm going to remain quiet and just pay attention to the messages coming through. Like I said earlier, you can use this for Sun, Rising, Moon, or Venus. And you're always welcome to just stop by any of my readings. I am clairvoyant, I am a medium, so I can also pull in messages for whoever shows up. So whether you're watching it live or on replay, I'm here for you, and I'm going to tune in to the messages now. All right, so let's take a look and see what we need to be focusing on. Okay, clearly that. All right, let's take a look at everything here and see what your messages are. And let's see what's coming through for you. All right, so we have this lovely quest card here saying plunge boldly into life. And I love the really rich colors here. We did a meditation yesterday all on the sort of like lower three chakras. And we have a lot of expressive energy here that kind of goes between the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, which is nicely in alignment with that. So I really like this. And that's the message here, is to get in touch with your really kind of root and put some energy into the power of your plan, to understanding that you can do it, but also sort of like setting an intention. Yesterday's totem was the bonsai, which was interesting because part of the way that we stunt the trees is by cutting off the roots. So it's interesting that we have a little bit of an overlap today, which is a focus on, again, lower three chakra energies in order for you to achieve that quest. So plunge boldly into that. And one of my messages yesterday that I'm going to bring forth as I look at this card for you as well is that you don't really have to depend on other people for your inspiration, for your fire. We all have that ability to fan the flame within, right? And so this is basically showing you that you have that. It's in those lower three chakras. So the first chakra is that security, that safety, that grounding. The second one is expression, it's sensuality. It's really sort of some of the expansive energy that I want you to look at. And the third one is having that sort of bold energy to breathe it into fruition. It's the power to stand up, to manage it. And also, like when you speak, I talked about this, I think in the collective, or maybe one of the ones right before the collective. But sometimes we have like moments where we speak shallowly just from the throat. So let me try to give you the difference between, I try to speak through the diaphragm. So if you're just speaking from the throat, it tends to be a little quiet, or maybe you're kind of swallowing things a bit. If you start to kind of pull the chest in, it's like this. And if you really go into the solar plexus, all of a sudden there's that extra oomph, right? So don't be afraid to pull the power into your speech this month when you're starting to state intentions and go forth with things, okay? So you've got it, but you need to kind of pull, I feel safe in what I'm doing. I feel excited about what I'm doing. I feel passion behind it. and I have the power to do what I'm going to do. Okay. It's kind of like when She-Ra or He-Man say like they have power or they connect to things, then all of a sudden they transform. If you believe it, you can do it. You don't need a magical sword to do that. You just need to sort of go within and think, I believe in myself. I'm going to bring this forth. I'm going to become the person I know I can be. Okay. Your center card is the Ace of Pentacles, which we saw. I saw a couple aces. I saw in my head like the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. You got the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. This can also be a relationship card. We'll talk about it in a second. This can as well. This is someone that's invested in you. It's a good card. It's opportunity. I hope you're invested in yourself. That's the first thing that should come through with Ace of Pentacles. The second thing would be that someone else is interested in you. I saw the pursuing energy that eventually revealed itself to be the whale shark. It could be a little scary when something comes to you, especially if you've been waiting for a while. Sometimes it's easier to not have something work out because then there's nothing at risk. There's nothing, there's nothing to gain. There's nothing to lose. I think you have something to gain, and therefore you're putting yourself out there a little bit, and you might feel like you don't want to mess it up. Don't be afraid. You've got this, and that's what I see with the Ace of Pentacles, okay? It's a really good card if you are in a new relationship, because this would be someone saying, like, let's date exclusively. If you've been freelancing, this could be someone saying, hey, like for a job, this could be someone saying, hey, we want to bring you on full time. In general, it's someone saying, hey, let's talk more. I am interested. This is a statement of interest. Okay. So I like that. It's also you deciding, I want to do something. We don't have to put all of our energy in waiting for others. That's one thing that I try not to do on this particular channel. I don't always care what your person's thinking, because I care what you are thinking and what you need, because your person is sort of connected to your energy. We look at your person when I go into the love portion here, but the central piece is you, and you are worth something valuable to yourself and to others. So see the value. That was another piece of it. I see it. The cards see it. Do you? Also, if the universe is giving you an opportunity, is there a reason that you're not going forth with that? Because this does look like a universal gift. So I really like that we got the Ace of Pentacles at the center. It's very positive. It's a great way to start off the reading. What do you want? This is more of a rhetorical question and a homework question, but the Seven of Cups is in this particular alignment not bad. It's exploring things. It's brainstorming. It's thinking, is this something that I like? Whatever. So basically, you have some decisions to make. You have a lot of opportunities in front of you, some better than others. I always love to see what's in the little cups. Sometimes you'll see like a skull or whatever. Here we see like a tornado. Here we see like a wreath. You see different things that bring you different things. We have power up here. We have love here. So what is it that you want? The universe is waiting so that it can bring through all of the sort of conduits that are necessary. So it's kind of like fishing, I guess. I don't fish, but you're throwing out the lure way out there, but you kind of have to catch up to it, and you're waiting for the fish and other things to go out there. So when you set your intention, it's kind of like setting that lure and setting the line out there. It's not going to be right by you. But you'll pull it in eventually. It'll come to you. It's kind of like that Three of Wands thing where you meet it halfway. But until you put something on the sort of hook, nothing's going to bite. So this is what, for some reason, Spirit's making me use fishing metaphors, although I don't fish. Thanks, Spirit. But maybe for some of you that will make sense. So you have to figure out what it is, because that is the attractive energy. That is the lure. And that's what's going to bring this ace into your life. Okay. So make the decision. The ace comes in. We saw a big fish today, so it's going to be good, whatever it is. All right. We have the Queen of Swords in the deep past. So hopefully this is the message that you have mastered, right? Which is, my voice is worth listening to. I'm going to use a full body sort of expression when I speak. I know that this is you, of course, too. Hello, Gemini. So this is also saying, like, I'm going to stand in my power right now and say what I need to say. But it needs to be clear, because this is not clear. This is rambling. This is clear. This is decisive. This is something I can get behind. So before you speak up, speak out, or make your sort of big splash, I really want you to sort of think it through, just like I talked about here on the table, getting all those ideas in front of you. I'm very new media, and this is very old school, kind of using all these cards. I will say, after having done it for a few years, I do see the value in it, because a lot of times I can just move the cards around. I'll get one piece, And this goes way back into the day before like computers. But I remember when I was in school, it was just when computers were taking off, and a lot of the teachers were still forcing us to do stuff like this. And I get the value now, because when you write it down, when you see it on the table, you understand how it flows together. So for you, maybe you need to do something old school. So it could be getting stuff out in a sketchbook. It could be putting it together on a mood board. I could just be talking it out, but there has to be an exercise. It can't just be all here or in an iPad. There needs to be some sort of a tangible, print it out. If you're looking at something, print it out and look at it, write on it, scribble it, cut it up. Do something so that you can move it around. It's going to help you make your decision. All right. The clarity is so important in the effectiveness of the communication. All right. I'm just noticing now. Lately I've been not on purpose, but I pick cards that are somehow aligned to my outfit, which makes me laugh. All right. Next piece, 3 of Swords in reverse. Are you happy right now? This is the most important piece, actually, because if you're not happy, this is the time for you to really find that satisfaction in your life. Now, when the 3 of Swords comes through in reverse, I'm actually relieved, because this shows me that you're kind of finished with putting yourself second. You're finished with maybe feeling like that old 80s thing where like no pain, no gain. I've said before, no pain, no pain. We don't need pain. You don't need to suffer to grow. It does help. It is a conduit. It is a way to sort of, have a thicker skin, have more empathy. But I feel like you've done enough. So if there's something in your life that does not bring you joy and satisfaction, it's time to step away from that. It's time to heal. It's time to open up. And we're missing, we've got cups, but I really want to see like the Ace of Cups. And I feel like when you give yourself permission to be happy, that's going to come through for you, because you got all the other aces almost. So it's your turn to be happy. It's your turn to walk away from something that you don't want. Some of you might have just gotten out of a bad relationship or a bad job. There might have also been some disappointments in your life, but it's in the past, and everything outside of that looks actually really good. So if I'm going to get something tricky, I'd like to see it in the past. So recent past feels like you're moving through it, and I'm optimistic for you. Okay. So let's see here. We've got the 4 of Swords here in reverse. And I would say for many of you right now, it's almost as if you're just trying to catch up. The 4 of Swords in the upright position means rest, relax. It might mean that you are trying to get more rest. But with this reversed, a lot of you are at a point where it almost feels like there's just no time to do that. It's so important to rest, because if we take a look at this, we're fast forwarding to your health card, but we have this dream time card showing that your creative energy is going to come through with sleep. We have this cleansing waters card here in your sort of career perspective here, and it shows me someone that kind of looks like they're sleeping, resting through things. You need that ability to reset. If I don't get a minimum of 5 or 6 hours, it's very hard to do this. I prefer much more than that, actually. It would be better if I get about 6 to 8. I definitely couldn't do this on 4 hours. I wouldn't know what I was saying. So I need more than that. I need about 6 minimum. So make sure you find what your minimum is and make sure that you're getting that, so that you are doing your best, right? And so I feel like the wick is kind of burning at both ends, and you need to say no. We've got the Queen of Swords. So you have the ability to do it upright. She's super powerful and effective, and probably one of my favorite cards. And it's a great representation for those of you that have, of course, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius in your chart somewhere. It's showing that you can use that strong communication skill. But even if you don't have that as one of your major sort of placements, you still have the ability to speak your mind and do it well this month. The main thing is, do I understand you? Are you clear? And one of the things that can help you be clear is just sleep on it. For me, that's one of the best things, actually. If I am not sure, I need one more day. Let me really sit with it for a while and figure out where I'm standing with that. Okay. Let's now take a look at the near future. And I'm not so worried about this because I see a progression. Here's your near future card. Here's your future card. We go from 5 to 9, which is really, really good. So the 9 of Pentacles is you being able to take care of yourself, rely on yourself. It's a sustaining card, but we have to first take a look at the 5 of Pentacles. So one of the triggers this month for you is that question or that feeling. Am I worth it? Do I deserve this? And also for some of you, there could be an internalization from past experiences of rejection or setbacks that now you are in some sort of a permanent cycle. And be careful with that, because we can actually create something like that, like a curse. There's a great line, I like Practical Magic, but that the character that Sandra Bullock is in love with says, curses only work if they believe them, and I don't. So I think there's a lot of power in that statement. I think that I want you to walk away with the idea today that I am blessed. You are blessed. So imagine today, because you're listening to this reading and discovering a truth, that whatever was heavy energetically, ancestrally, because of past generations, or maybe from your parent or teacher or whatever, you're going to make a decision today to lift that. And it wasn't a curse. It was just a feeling. It was just a thought. And you're going to replace it or embrace instead a blessing. And the blessing is, I'm worth all of this and more. And that there's a lot of help. There's a lot of protection around you. In this scene, there's always some sort of a sanctuary that the two characters are ignoring. There's two characters that aren't paying attention to each other. There's help everywhere. There's opportunity everywhere. Yeah, it's a little rough. It's snowing. It's cold. You're out on the streets. But this is one moment in time, and there's movement all around you. So all you need to do is open the door behind you, to talk to the person next to you, to let go of that energy that you're holding on to. There's something that you're holding on to, and it's bringing that feeling down energetically of your potential. So I want you to let go of it. It's one of the sort of floating cups that we're not going to go to. Okay. It's this sort of little tornado thing here. So let's not go there. That's not worth it. That's not worth the time and energy. I want you to work on healing familial relationships. So this cuts both ways. It works both ways. So if you're a child, you might work on healing your relationship with a parent, even if they've passed into spirit. If you're a parent, you might work on healing it with your child. It could also be sibling energy or a friend from the past. It's usually something to do with childhood or youth or a familial bond. So those are the things you want to focus on the most. It can also be healing your own inner child. Sometimes we're our own worst critic and enemy. So just work on loving yourself a little bit more, because again, do you see the value? Do you see this positivity? Because I do, and the cards do. As a sort of marker for your body, I'd like you to be really kind to your legs, to your knees, and to your ankles. The Five of Pentacles, for me as a reader, typically has to do with that. In many of the illustrations, especially I think Rider-Waite-Smith, you would see someone on a crutch, I believe. But typically it just shows that we may not be taking care of that part of our body. So taking a moment to stand if you're sitting a lot, making sure that you're stretching and doing yoga. And maybe even if you're in a wheelchair, that you're exercising the legs and working with a physical therapist to make sure that there's no atrophying happening there. Whatever your particular situation or station in life may be, working and taking care of the legs. It's really important. And I think that's the key thing. Circulation as well. So all of those things are things to think about. You want to work with the proper health professional if you're experiencing any issues, but I am seeing blockages or sensitivity in that part of your body. One last thing with the Five of Pentacles, it's a very sort of break-even / limiting card. You have a lot of potential, because I see the Magicians and the Nine of Pentacles. So if you are in a current relationship and the partner's not giving to you what you need, or if you're in a job and you're not getting enough money or support, it's time to do something different. And you'll be fine on your own if you need to do either of these. If either of these things hold true, this is a card of independence, of self-sufficiency. And sometimes we're better when we're not being weighed down. We'll talk more about that in a second, but that's it. There's a lot to unpack with the Five of Pentacles. It's a tricky card. All right. Thank you so much for all the support everyone's giving me. Thanks, Maria, for helping me as we're doing this. All right, it's going to be a busy month for everyone this month. We've got the Eight of Wands. Again, I'm looking at the next 6 to 8 weeks. So with the Eight of Wands, for many of you, there's two notes with this. First of all, in select decks, not in every one, but in select decks, you will see that this card is actually a communal card, which means that there's more than one person there to help you out. Sometimes we feel the illusion of getting lost in the crowd or being alone or having to do it all. With the Seven of Wands, the one right under this, I would say you're sometimes not working intelligently enough because you're doing too much and you're pushing back help. With this one, it feels like you've learned most of the lessons, but I want you to free yourself up so you can move beyond this. So for those of you that might have a small business, This can mean hiring help. Even though that could mean spending a little bit more, it will also free you to develop, to brainstorm, to lead, to do new things, to get on the phone and talk to vendors, etc. I want you to be like this little person on the motorcycle and let some other people help you with all the stuff going on. So you don't have to do it all. I feel like leaning on and hiring and connecting with other people is key. Because we got the whale shark, I feel like you'll also make a good leader and people will listen to you. Even if you have to believe that you have the potential to do this, that could be the only limiting factor. But I feel like it's a great month for you. This is really good for small business. This is really good for your life in general. It just shows me you're going to be busy, okay? But you're going to be able to keep up with it. So I like it. We have the Ace of Wands in your environment. Again, maybe one or two opportunities coming through for you. So we have the Ace of Pentacles in the center, the Ace of Wands in the environment. Wands is a sort of exchange of ideas, right? Make sure that you're charging if you need to. If you're a consultant, make sure that you're getting paid, because sometimes, vendors and companies are not paying. If you're in a relationship, make sure that what you're putting forth is also coming back. This is a good card if you've just met someone. It shows me a really strong chemistry, strong physical connection. Let's make sure that this part is coming through too, that there's enough that you have in common that you can kind of carry on a conversation. But physical chemistry off the charts when there's the Ace of Wands. The other thing for you is notice how, and this is more receiving, this ace, but I feel like this particular Ace of Wands here versus the Ace of Pentacles is more about leading. To me, especially since we have the Magician and possibilities and she's holding a wand, I think it's really important to use your ideas and believe your ideas, kind of like use your leadership potential here to make something happen. So this only works just like magic if you believe it. So I want you to believe in your ideas, especially if you're trying to sell it, especially if it is a first connection with someone, a first interview, first date. Really believe in what you have to offer and they're going to feel that too. All right. Looks good to me. I like that that's in the environment. I like that the Ace of Pentacles is in the center. So we have a Magician card here. A magician can do anything that they put their minds to. And the only thing, and we got it here with the Seven of Cups, is to just discern what they should put their mind to. And just because you can do anything doesn't mean that you should do everything. We are more powerful when we sometimes edit and focus. And that's the one thing that I always like to remind people with the Magician. Focus, and you're going to do great things. The other thing with the Magician, and we don't always pay attention to it, is the way she connects to the firmament and to the planet, as above, so below. What this really means is that you are grounded in purpose and you are a constant channel. You are a mortal channel. I talked about that in my book a little bit. So that's what that means, is that you don't have to actually, there are some people that they're almost like energetic vampires. They pull energy from other people, or they're exhausting to be around. You don't have to ever be one of those people or around any of those people, because you are inspired. You pull your inspiration from source, from your higher self, from the universe, which is constantly broadcasting things towards us. You are also very grounded and connected to the moment. And that's going to allow you not to be toppled over by other people, not to be energetically sort of like a victim of like people's, what is it? It's almost like a tidal wave when it comes through. Sometimes people come through and there's just way too much. You're grounded in purpose, you're connected to source, and you're powerful. And that's why the Magician is powerful. And this particular sort of pose on the Magician is a reminder that we have to have grounding and connection always to be our most effective. Okay. So I like that. Sorry, my neighbor's dog is barking in the background. All right, Nine of Pentacles here. This is one of the best possible cards that I could pull for your future outcome. And what I like about Nine of Pentacles is that you have the capacity to not only do it on your own, but you have longevity. We talked about the age span for the whale shark being like 80 to 120 years. So the Nine of Pentacles is like the long distance run. You can keep going and going and going, like the Energizer Bunny or whatever. So I like this. With the Nine of Pentacles, sometimes there is a very fierce independence that comes through with that. And I would say what you want to focus on is staying open so that you don't miss something. It's a positive card, but just like the Magician, there are potential setbacks. So you have multiple points of like opportunity or support that are coming through with the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. But sometimes this person can be so in their own silo and on their own that they miss that. So the Nine of Pentacles could grow to the 10 or to the Ace or the King or beyond that. So open up to that, all right? Because I feel like there's more to be had. Actually, if you combine these two, then you can go to the next level. It's really great because then we have the 10 of Pentacles. So it's big expansion. So just make sure that if something or someone comes through, you are discerning, but you aren't dismissive, okay? So there we go. Let's take a look at the next piece. And we're going to expand now to health, wealth, love, and destiny. Let me just take a quick drink while we do that. Okay, so mind, body, spirit comes first. We have dream time and creation here. The card is reversed, but let's just pull it up right. And I'll pull it close so you can see, because this kind of reminds me of those things that you would see in the 60s and 70s. It has a sort of hippie vibe to it. If you've ever been up to like Haight-Ashbury in Northern California, it looks kind of like that. All right, so dream time, creation. The importance of sleep. So right at the top, we have Four of Swords, which is reversed, which is saying probably not getting enough. When we look really close at the person on this, she's super stressed out. So some of you may be dealing with stress management, and that is kind of holding you back from getting to sleep. And so sometimes I have to just listen to music or a mantra or someone else talk. You know, you can do books on tape or things like that, or books, audiobooks now, Audible, to allow for that sort of disconnect. We all go there. Or white noise works as well. A gong meditation. There's so many things that you can kind of connect with. But I want you to somehow allow for some more time to sleep and to meditate. The other thing is, for those of you that have ever been really sometimes you can get so tired that you can't fall asleep. Just know this, the fact that you're in bed or resting or breathing, doing deep breathing, your body's still relaxing. So just meditate. When I can't sleep, I meditate. I just sort of allow myself to go into a visualizing state, I should say. And I just sort of I'll call in healing energy. I'll imagine that I'm kind of pulling a wave of warm energy over myself. I can talk to myself. Pretty soon I put myself to sleep, but I just go into a positive mode instead of fighting that. Or if worst case, you can get up and do something. You usually can get tired. Try something you don't want to do. Balance your checkbook or clean the kitchen or something like that. Suddenly you're going to be really ready to go back to bed. So change the channel a little bit and do what you can. The other thing is I get the same busyness in these two cards. They're really busy. This is just a cleaner version of it, but it's still too much going on. So I feel like some of you are just spread too thin. And because of that, your mind never stops. So it's important to lean on other people to say no. The discernment that came through with the whale shark is also no. I'm going to close my mouth here. That's not it. I'm going to open it here. So the whale knows when and where to feed, when and where to bring things in, and when and if to do something. So you should do the same. Let me look really quickly at some other health messages that are present here. This card, for some of you, can be ADHD, attention deficit disorder, where you're kind of focusing too much on where you can't actually focus. There's a lot of things going on. It could also be, I was talking about the office. There could be distractions. So I'm in a home office like a lot of you. So there are things like when the neighbor's dog barks in the background. I can't do anything about that because I'm not in a soundproof place yet. I'm trying to manifest that in the future. So we just kind of have to roll with the punches. But maybe there's a different part of your place that you can work. Maybe you can do some white noise. If I wasn't doing a live, if I put on the air conditioner, I don't hear that. So there's things like that that you can do. Try to find ways to filter out the noise so that you can focus, or find a space that's perfect for you. You might need to carve out a little office nook, especially if you have a partner or children, or just need to kind of feel productive, like you're going to work. All of those things are important there. We talked about paying attention to your legs and to your feet and to your circulation. That definitely comes through as well. And then the only area that I'm looking at that has heightened sensitivity right now is the heart. So for many of you, this is an encouragement just to do more exercise, to eat in a way that supports heart healthiness. I'm not a dietitian, so work with your dietitian for that. But there are certain foods that you can use that will reduce the risk of heart attack and things like that. This is an important time to do that, specifically if you're stressed out. Okay, so I see some sleep deprivation. I see some stress, which could be stressing your heart. And I also see some circulation issues below in the lower extremities. All of those things are going to be important, plus finding a way to kind of clear your head, because you've got too many good things coming through with the Ace of Pentacles, with the Nine of Pentacles, with the Magician, with the Ace of Wands, with the Eight of Wands. It's all good. So don't get lost in one of these sort of derailing sidetracks, okay? All right, next piece. We're looking at, we just looked at health. Let's look at wealth. It says purification activates vibrant life force cleansing waters. Detoxification, basically. Detoxing your environment, detoxing your work environment in particular. Getting something out, saying what you've got to say. Let's pull in the powerful Queen of Swords and let her kind of like get it out there. Because if you're holding on to something, then that's why you can't sleep. That's why things are kind of continuing this way. That's why all this stuff is going through your head. So the important thing right now is just to kind of like get it out. Find a way to do it in the best way possible, but it's better to get it out there, even if it's not perfect, than to hold it in. So what could this be? Being underappreciated, being undersupported, being overworked, being dismissed. So this is the point where you come in as the big whale shark and you're strong and you're powerful and you're going to speak from the heart and say no more. Okay. So there's something to be cleared up with respect to either work environment, compensation, appreciation, or your connection to, maybe you're getting real with yourself, your connection to how invested am I, how invested are you in what it is that you're working on. Okay. Something has to be cleared up there. Once it is, you're going to know what to do. You're going to feel better. The other person is going to figure out like, okay, this person is serious. So I guess we need to deal with this. Okay. And then it feels good. Have you ever noticed when you just get something off your chest? That's good. I can rest about that now. I don't need to worry anymore. Right. Okay. Let's take a look at love. Actually, before we go beyond wealth, I want to look at the money cards. So again, we have self-worth right here, smack dab in the center. And then the foil to self-worth, this feeling of, can I do this? Should I do this? Will I do this? Yes. We put the two together. It's the Six of Pentacles, which is more than enough. It's balance. So the answer is yes on that. The next piece that I want to talk about is the progression that I see between the Five of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. So with this, we see that once you get over that, not only is there great potential, but like you really kind of like a rocket take off. And that's actually in some of the different illustrations for Eight of Wands, you'll see these kind of going up almost like arrows, like bone arrows, or rocket ships. So things take off really quickly once you see your worth, once you ask for a little bit of help or a little bit more, and then it's maintainable. So I see you stepping into abundance. And I think you are the agent of that change, the Magician card, okay? You have to set it in motion. You have to believe in it for it to happen. And it's going to be better after you do whatever you need to do. All right, now let's move to relationships. I might need to put my glasses on for this one because it is super small. All right, it says, love is all around you. There's love everywhere all the time. Simply acknowledge this as a truth. And so with this one, as I said earlier, I felt like someone was in pursuit or interested in you. And the fact that we got two aces, the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands, tells me that that probably is the truth. What's important for you is the discernment piece. Do you want it? You don't have to accept something just because it's coming in. And sometimes there are unwelcome advances, right? And in this case, it's really important for you to, I know that some of you may be afraid of saying no to someone, but sometimes it's important to say no. And if they don't listen, block them. You could, there's ways that you can kind of step back from that because you don't have to be harassed if that's the case. So state your claim. And if they're not listening, find other ways to kind of make it, hammer it home. And then for the rest of you, if you're interested, it's auspicious timing because it feels like something really great will happen with that connection. All right. Because we have two aces, we have the Magician, and we have the Nine of Pentacles. So I like what I'm seeing if it feels right for you. And that's really true of both business and love. Let's take a moment to break it down into the three areas that I like to look at. So if you are in love, looking for love, or not focused on love. For those of you that are in love, there's some work to do. I'm going to be honest with you because what we have here is the Three of Swords and the Five of Pentacles and a worth card here. So for some of you, it's really important for you to feel seen and to feel supported. And you're questioning, like, where do I stand? It may not actually be as bad as the Five of Pentacles looks because everything else is pretty positive. I feel like there's a miscommunication here. And it's important now to lean on your communication skills and to fix that and to sort of like really step into clearing it up, cleaning up the waters, right? And then the The good news for those of you in relationships is we go from this feeling of not being seen or not being heard or understood to like feeling like I'm okay again. Now, this is an independent card. So one thing that I want to remind you is you don't need the other person to be whole or to do this, but it would be nice to have support. So make sure that you're getting that support. Okay. Find a way to rekindle chemistry. These two cards together are chemistry. This is physical attraction, and this is sort of like that intangible feeling that we have with someone that we really like. And it's just sort of like, I don't know why, but I want to be around this person. So let's reignite the spark a little bit. It feels like that needs to happen. If for some reason you decide to break up and move on or dissolve a partnership, ultimately it's still going to be okay. Everything is positive on this side. So whatever course of action you decide to take, I see really positive outcomes here. If you're looking for love this month, you must first deal with personal health, self-confidence, emotional health and happiness, insomnia, all that stuff, and mental clarity. Because if somebody comes in and you've got all this stuff going on, you're gonna miss that opportunity. Once you deal with yourself, then it looks good. It's fine. I like what I see here. You're a little busy. I will say that, the Eight of Wands, but there is time for love. You can make time for love if you want to. This independence is important, and I feel like the key thing for you is to make sure that you don't get lost in a relationship. I'm not getting a particular sign that came through. I mean, we have Queen of Swords, but that's really you. So I think the important thing here is to focus on aspects of yourself. Now, if you're not looking for love this month, I think that's actually a good time to not be focusing solely on that, because healing can be accomplished. Monetary success and sort of resource management can bring you more opportunity, which is great. I feel like many of you are just going to get inspired. The important thing for you, I think, is to connect with your network, because there's a lot of people that can help you with what you're doing. So you're not in this alone. This is a card that shows like sometimes it takes a village, and this is the village here, even though you don't always see it in the Eight of Wands. All right. So that's the different aspects of love and people in your life. And that's the way that I read love. All right, let's look now at your destiny card, basically the direction that you're headed in. And we have the fox spirit. Think on your feet. Amen to that. The card is reversed, which tells me that some of you may be more comfortable with being rehearsed. One of the things that I had to adjust with, and I think I've been doing this since like December of 2019 now, it's been a while. Prior to that, the first 5 or 6 years that I was doing this, I would record everything and I would take forever to make them perfect. What I realized is that's a waste of time. It was fine, and I'm proud of those videos, but it's a lot more fun to be here in the moment. It's actually more intuitive to be able to just connect with spirit. It's what a real reading would be like if I was doing it one-on-one. So you can do the same thing in your life, just like Spirit said in the background with that dog barking. Just think on your feet and work with that. Work in the moment. The important thing here also with the fox is no one can outfox you. The more you open up your third eye, the more you're going to see through illusions, and you're going to be able to see if someone's planning to do something, if someone's not fully telling you the truth, if there's something really awesome on the horizon, like love or a job or something like that. So you are the fox, and no one's going to outfox you. So trust in that. Work on your intuition, and it's going to be your first and best defense, because first and best sort of like opportunity too, because you're going to be able to see both the blessings and the blocks. All right. So I find it funny that as I'm talking in the background, the neighbor's dog is barking, and we have a little fox here. So listen to your voice, listen to your inspiration, your intuition, and see where it takes you. All right, let's do a mini review, and then we'll go into the soul path. And I want to look at a couple of things on the soul path here. Let me write down some notes before we go too far. Someone said this sign is heavy. I don't think so. I think the sign is awesome today. I think you've got a lot of blessings here. Everybody has some work to do, each and every sign. So the way that I read it is to help you get past it. So to the person that said this sign is heavy, I think that basically what I'm giving you are the keys to get past those blocks. So don't worry about it. When you say it's heavy or when you say it's difficult, you actually make it difficult. So don't do that. It's going to be great. All right, let's take a look at what's coming through and what I want to focus on for you a little bit. So, we have the Queen of Swords here in the past, but then we have Three of Swords and Four of Swords. So I want to help you a little bit with communication, because that seems like it's a key thing, specifically when I'm looking at Five of Pentacles. So I'm going to write down a very specific message, which is communicating worth. I think that would be key. So communicating worth. Super important. All right. And then the next piece that I want us to focus on, it looks like I want to see what we have here. So we have cups, we have swords, we have pentacles, we have plenty of wands. So we have balance. What I'm not seeing a ton of is like major arcana cards. We have like the magician. So I want to help you connect the threads. So what can you really do to ignite or expand? So, you know, the whale shark to me was very much a big sort of big splash, big impact. So I want to help you get to the world. How can we bring something to completion? What can you do to have that that moment? So world / connecting energy, kind of making something happen. And then we'll just pull a wild card after that. All right, let's take a look at the messages one more time, and then we're going to go into the soul path. And then, like I said, at the very end, I'll answer one of your questions. Okay, so your spirit totem today is the whale shark. It is basically a shark that's as big as a whale. And I was shown this large figure, and I didn't really know what it was until I did some research later, because I thought it's both, and it is both in name and also kind of like an energy. It's the biggest known fish of this, or not, it's not really a fish, it's like a mammal or whatever. But I would say largest extant species in the water, let's just put it that way. So this is amazing because it gives you this potential to realize in your own life you can grow and you can make an impact. For those of you that are curious, it can grow up to 62 feet. I think this is in length, and 18.8 meters. They feed by opening their mouths and filtering in small fish and plankton. And that's really encouraging you to basically be discerning as well. Remember here that they are peaceful. They look big, they look imposing, but they're not. So that's something that you want to think about in your own life here, and I'll talk about in a second. The longevity is something that I like, and that's what we got here with the Nine of Pentacles. This is the long run, the long term, so I like that. So again, don't be intimidated by others. Realize that others may be shy or intimidated by you, so you don't want that to be something that holds you back. Work at breaking the ice and finding a common ground. Focus on open body language, smiling, keeping good eye contact, etc. If others see your potential in life, realize that that might actually be valid. Sometimes people can see the change or the opportunity and the growth within us before we can see it ourselves, because we're looking at the same thing every day. Go expansive, go big with your thoughts and your energy. It's not the time to stay quiet or to be subtle or to be shy. Like the star of the world, and we're going to be focusing on this in a second, I want to see how you can really enjoy the conspicuous nature of this particular totem. It's a time to be seen. It's a time to do things. Lead if you can. We were talking about the filter feeding portion of this, and that's all about discernment. Know when and where to bring things in. Make sure that you're getting sustained by that as well. Know that you can absorb vast amounts of information and knowledge right now, aka like the Eight of Pentacles. So learning is key. Might be time to pick up a book, take a class, do something that just expands or challenges your mind. Make sure that there's still that sense of purpose and fulfillment in anything and everything that you do. I saw someone pursuing you. This could be welcome. This could be not welcome, unwelcome. Whatever it is, make sure that you signal and state that to the person so that they're not confused. And then that's going to help open up other opportunities if this person's not the right match for you. It's important to look good, but don't go overboard in preparation, because I was seeing a wardrobe choice and expensive things. You only need 1 or 2 items. You don't have to go crazy. The meeting that I see coming through in the future could either be a date or it could be an interview, but it was kind of like had overtones of both. So if it's an interview, you have a really good rapport. If it's a date, you're asking too many questions. Let there be a little bit more back and forth, really kind of feel the audience out there. Don't make a date an interrogation. Spirit is ready and willing to connect to you, but you have to set aside time in order for that to happen. So please do that if you're ready and willing to do so. Remember that messages can be subtle at first, but they often become more visible and more discernible as you start to connect more often. It can come through in a song lyric, in a license plate, in a radio, a song on the radio, etc. I saw an emphasis on where you're working. It could be a new office. It could just be an encouragement for you to clean up the space and make it something that you like. Some of you are probably going between an office and home. It's just important to get your bearings. The other thing is that there could be a really important meeting there, and make sure that whatever this opportunity is on the horizon that I see for you, that it's something that you like, that it feels good, that it allows for more growth in your life. Light your own fire, pursue your own dreams. Basically, it says plunge boldly into life in general. I like this. It is showing lower 3 chakra energy, a lot of the 3rd chakra, a lot of the solar plexus here in the middle. So really feel your power this month. We see it here with the Magician, so I hope you can feel it too. See and understand you are worth it. We have the Ace of Pentacles at the center. So we see self-worth, but a card that hinders that self-worth. Then we see an opportunity and power. But again, this has to be sort of released in order for all these aces and the Magician to come into full fruition. Your mental clarity and your decisive or indecisiveness is the other thing that is going to pivot you in the right or the wrong direction. So focus on being clear. Speak your mind. You have the power to do it. You showed up as the Queen of Swords, which I love here in the deep past. 3 of Swords, you need to walk away from something. It's already happening. Healing's already a part of this journey because the 3 of Swords is reversed. But some of you need to give yourself a little bit more time to rest and absorb things. 4 of Swords is working so fast, so hard that you're not taking enough time for yourself. So this is reminding you to do that. You are worth it. You are worth more. You are worth all of this and more. If someone's not supporting, paying, or acknowledging you enough, this is a time to bring that into a proper sort of balance. You're busy, but you're going to be able to catch up with this. Remember, there's other people to support you. You don't have to do it all. There's at least one opportunity, if not 2. There's a great collaborative and cooperative energy here as well. The only problem that I see is that in a leadership role, you could have people under you that have a hard time focusing or understanding things. So make sure that you are very clear in communication this month. That could be a tripping point. In relationships, physical connection comes through sometimes stronger than communication. So make sure that you're also talking about things that matter. We have the Magician here, powerful. You can put anything you put your mind to, you can do it. Focus on what you're doing so that you can be more effective. Less is more, especially if you do it effectively. 9 of Pentacles showing me that you're eventually working toward this independence, self-sufficiency, and abundance, which I love. What's missing from this card is the snail. So the snail reminds us that things happen sometimes slower than we like, but it's still the right time. I think she has like a little bird on her hat there. I'm just noticing that. So pay attention to your inner voice. Sometimes that small little voice in your head is leading you in the right direction as well. All right. Dreams are important and sleep is important because it fuels your creativity. If you are running on no sleep, you are not going to be creative. You're running on empty. It's like filling your gas tank with water, which is actually a symbol I got the other night, like running on fumes, basically. So you can't afford to do that. Other messages with health, of course, we talked about the legs and extremities. The other thing that I see here is if you're having a hard time going through something, you should talk to someone. Sometimes it helps to just kind of have someone else show you a different perspective. And that's key as well. With wealth, we have, or career or life purpose, we have cleansing waters. You want to clear the way. You want to get stuff out in the open. And as I like to always remind you with the lotus petal here, we have to go through the difficulties. We have to clear ourselves of the dirt, the grime, and the muck that's in the pond in order to blossom. And that's what this person's doing. They've come through the difficulties, and now they are like that lotus blossom. So all you see is the blossom, but you don't see the stuff at the bottom of the pond that has to fight to get up to the top. So it's worth the battle. It's worth the journey. And you will go from 5 of Pentacles to the 9 of Pentacles if you do that. And even if somebody is initially sort of surprised or you might upset them, it's okay because you have to get that out. You have to get it out in the open. For love, there's a reminder here that it's all around you. But in order for you to appreciate it, you have to focus on healing yourself. In a relationship, you have to focus on having similar goals when it comes to money and self-worth. And overall, I think it's really just important to have a clear vision of who you are and what you want. Because everybody, especially your partner, is waiting to see where you stand on that. All right. And finally, we have the lovely fox spirit here saying that you're nobody's fool and that you're able to see through things. No one can outfox you. There is someone that might be trying, but you're going to see through that. So don't worry about it. Okay. Overall, really good energy. And, for the person that said it's heavy, I don't agree. I think the outcome here is the 9 of Pentacles and the fox. So this is telling me you just have to think smarter and think your way through something. These are really good cards here. One more time, looking at this. 8 of Wands, Ace of Wands, Magician, 9 of Pentacles, Nothing there that's heavy to me. There's just some stuff you've got to do, some healing you have to do on yourself first to kind of access those opportunities. So I always keep it real, and I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff, but I think that you're okay. So keep that thought and manifest that thought, not like that this is going to be a heavy month, because thoughts do manifest. So I believe you've got a lot of opportunity in front of you. You have a little bit of healing to do. You need a little bit more self-care with the Four of Swords, but nothing heavy about that. All right, let's take a look now at communicating self-worth, communicating more effectively. Thank you so much for all of the kind super stickers. Just to let you know, I do look afterwards and I do appreciate it. It allows me to do more of these videos. So I'm now up to 15 a month. I used to only do 12. So thank you so much. Every little like, subscribe, and super chat helps. All right, communicating self-worth. Let's take a look at this and see what the message is for your sign and for all those who are present. All right, we have the Page of Wands in reverse, which is to keep an open mind and also to find ways to see it from the other person's perspective. It's challenging sometimes because when you are really kind of connected, as the Magician card is, sometimes you can see it like from A to Z, from beginning to end, and you just know that this is going to work. But someone else could have fear, anxiety, or frustration that's holding them back, right? And I would say that what you want to do is try to understand their trigger, their momentary pause, whatever it is, and sort of say, I see why you're concerned about that. Let me help you see how that's not going to be an issue. I used to have the same concern. Look, we have this plan, we have this plan. It's going to be okay because we've already thought through that. I'm so glad you brought it up. Acknowledge and assuage the concern, and then illustrate the way toward solving that, and you'll be okay. It can also just be open to a different way, a different path. Just because you've always done something one way doesn't mean that it won't get done another way or that it might not be better. So as much as you need them to be open, you should also be open. The Page of Wands reverse can show a breakdown on one, both, or either sides. So just keep an open mind. And I think that's going to be key, and help them open their minds as well. But part of that might be just entertaining their suggestion. If it doesn't work, say, listen, we tried it. Let's try mine now. Okay. Let's look at the searching for the world is what I'm trying to kind of reaching for the world card. How can we really get you some more expansive energy? I like that we have the Magician, but I'd like some more major arcana here. I'd like a little bit more movement. So let's see what we can do to unlock your potential. Let's put it that way. Okay, we have the Ace of Swords. You got all the aces this month. There's nothing heavy or limited about this. This is really cool. The only thing that's missing is the Ace of Cups. And I might make that the next one. Like, how can we unlock that next one? So with the Ace of Swords, when I was talking about connecting to the world or unlocking the sort of potential, you are going to have to take the lead. When I see Ace of Swords, to me, this can be attached to a king, queen, or a knight. I'm seeing someone who's going to take some action, make something happen. It's also about clarifying the communication and communicating and being the voice of reason. Sometimes it's it's a great communication card. It's not the ultimate. The ultimate would be like King of Swords, but you've got the Queen of Swords here. So keep it up. Also, this can be about what's interesting here with the Ace of Wands. If you can pass on some of this unnecessary work, let's put it that way, passing the baton on, then you can focus a lot more on this higher purpose, higher reasoning that's coming through with the Ace of Swords. You can go even more. So I think don't delay. Do a little bit better job with delegation, much more engagement in communication. And then, pick up the slack too if someone else isn't doing it, because you're going to ultimately be the one that's seen as the mover, the shaker, the doer, the leader. Okay. So there you go. Communication, action. And then going back to the 8 and Ace of Wands, a little bit of delegation is going to help you as well, so that you can free up your mind and free up your energy. Because I think that you are working hard, but you could work smarter, get more sleep, ask for more help, say more, no more often, and all of that's going to help. All right, now let's just kind of look at the wild card. Maybe it's how to get to the other ace. Maybe it's just something else that we need to look at. Okay. We have the 8 of Swords. Okay, so this is about comfort or discomfort with ambiguity in your life. So I would much prefer the card to be reversed, because it would then be a revelation. But when the card is upright, what it's reminding you is that this is the time to look things in the eye, look things face to face, not to be afraid. So the Ace of Swords is ultimately, I would say the key to unlock the Eight of Swords is transparency, education, research, open communication, as we would see with the Ace of Swords, and basically realizing it's not as bad as it looks. It's even, so like the Eight and the Nine of Swords are often sometimes self-imposed prisons or sort of like painting yourself in a corner. So what we want to do with this is instead figure out like, how did I get myself into this? And that is actually what I'm seeing with this Eight of Swords. It's almost like you're painting a room, you're painting everywhere, and all of a sudden you didn't realize I need to step out of this. So you got to wait for things to dry. So sometimes we get ourselves into a pickle. We're in this kind of situation where we can't get out of it. So we already talked about that. It's about just openly communicating, saying no, and deciding like, I don't want to do this anymore. So speak up, speak out. And whenever you're kind of entering into something new, there's always going to be ambiguity. So ask the questions. With the Seven of Cups, there's a little bit of ambiguity. With the Eight of Swords, there's a little bit of ambiguity. So just ask the tough questions and work on that. And I think that's going to help. All right. So we're going to get ready for the meditation. At the very end here, I will answer a question from you. I'm sure some of you have questions that I haven't looked at yet. So think about that as we get ready to meditate. And then I'll pull a card at the end, and I'll try to answer it as best I can as both a yes, no, and then maybe give you some deeper levels of meaning. Before we do that, just a quick reminder. First of all, just thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Maria, for helping. If you like what you're seeing here, thank you for everyone here that's given super stickers. I appreciate that. It allows me to do more. You can also on replay do super thanks. It's right by the share button below the video. So feel free to do that. One last time, if you want to connect with me on social media, here are all the different networks. I'm usually Nicholas Ashbaugh on everything. I'm N Ashbaugh on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I will also use the story feature to remind you of things, okay? And one last time here, if you haven't liked and subscribed, consider doing that. Also, when you watch this on replay, please comment. All of that engagement helps people discover this. It helps the YouTube algorithm kind of like serve it up. So it's a free way to help, and it helps me a lot. All right, so let's think about the meditation here. And I'm looking for the bottom here. All right, so what we see here, I want to kind of help us with that last card, the Eight of Swords. How can we get past fear or anxiety? How can we kind of like open the way? So let's imagine that you are right on the precipice of sunrise. In fact, the sun has just started to open up and kind of come through. Like it starts with a point of light, and then all of a sudden, this brilliant, all these brilliant shades of orange, indigo, tangerine, bright white sort of spreads across the horizon. Let's imagine that you're in a place like San Francisco where there might be a fog belt, and it's rolling in or it's rolling out. So let's imagine that it's burning off. So you are at the beach, you're watching the sunrise, and you're watching the sun burn through the fog. You're watching it evaporate. In the initial moments of dawn, there's a feeling of uncertainty because you can't really see beyond your hand. You're not sure what's going on around you. You might even see some figures moving around, and you're not sure what those are, what's going on. With each breath that you take, however, you start to see and feel and know more, and the fear subsides. The power within your belly is just like the card that I'm holding here. It's bright. It's this beautiful color of orange and yellow. And I want you to imagine that the sun directly connects with the solar plexus, and you can feel your own energy brightening and lightening your sort of energetic load as well. So allow that to bring light and life into your body and power. So as the fog clears, as the sun rises, as your own energy starts to lighten and brighten, you can now see around you, and you see that it's good stuff on the horizon, that there's friends, there's family, there's opportunities. The important thing for you now, and the most important thing, is for you to decide which one today you want to walk towards. So imagine that as the fog clears, one thing comes into your main focus, and you're going to walk toward it and meet it on the shore, just like the Three of Wands. And you're going to engage with that opportunity. okay? So you feel safe, you feel supported, you feel now that you can see and go after what you want. You also see it coming toward you, just like those ships coming in. All right, I'm going to play this singing bowl for about a minute, and then I'm going to answer your final question that you might have as well. Relax and feel a sense now that it's going to be okay, that you can see clearly, and that you're opening up opportunity and abundance in the highest forms. All right, take a nice deep breath. Imagine now that you are actually on that ship, headed towards the destination, headed towards that future version of yourself that you saw. Exhale if you haven't already. Allow that to be the wind in your sails. Allow the speed to happen even faster than you imagined. And know that we have now set you on a positive trajectory. We've cleared the mental fog, we've cleared the literal fog, and we've opened a path towards abundance. All right, I'd like you now to focus on any remaining question or questions that you might have for me. Let's try to keep it to one question because I'm just going to pull one card. Think about something that you would like more clarity over. Hold it in your third eye, hold it in your heart. Let me shuffle the cards and let's see what the message is. We got the sun card, which is fantastic. All right, so we were just meditating on the sun, which is really, really auspicious. So as a yes/no question, this is an emphatic yes. And it's great because we actually now have another major arcana card. We haven't had a lot today. So the sun card is, there's a few things that I want you to focus on. First of all, it is, as we see here, it's a little baby. So this is a time to birth, to create, to step into something new. Everything starts with a little step at the beginning, baby steps. So don't imagine that overnight something is going to be completely what you envision it to be. There are steps to progress. There are steps to development. Over time, it will grow. It will become what you imagine it will be. This is also a demarcation of time. This is a one-year sort of journey for many of you. So starting with today's meditation, starting with this question, many of you are starting on a one-year journey towards the fruition of this dream, this vision, or this goal. This can also indicate the importance of your general attitude and your general charisma that you kind of like extend to others, because that is like an intangible thing, just like the magician here. How you believe in yourself and how you engage with others, or what you kind of project out there, that either draws them in, like the sun would, or it propels them out. The gravity of your energy is really important, and that's what the sun teaches us. In yesterday's reading, I was talking about the fact that we are all constituted from stardust. The sun is a star, so this is a continuation of that message. Own that light, own that ancient history, and do something with it. Do something great. You are destined for greatness. That's basically what this card is as well. Now, it is also youthful. It's the sun. It's a baby. So like I said before, be open to accepting guidance, to sort of like taking it a step at a time. All right. Really great card to end with. Really positive energy with this. It was upright, so it's pretty auspicious. And I think the important thing here is for you to feel loved, supported, and nurtured on this journey, just like the baby in the sun card. Okay. Great messages for you. One last little mini review of the soul path, and then we're going to wrap up. Keep an open mind. When I was looking at communicating your worth, when we're looking at how to kind of open up more opportunity, it's to be that active communicator, the one that's taking the action. To kind of cut through any of the nonsense, you have to lead by example here. There is some ambiguity, there is some uncertainty, but we worked on that, and I feel like it's going to be okay for you. The important thing is to use your voice, which came through a few times today, to really make sure that you're conveying what you need to. But ending on the sun card is fantastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the month ahead brings for all of you. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. Thanks for Maria for your help with moderation. Thanks to everybody that was kind enough to give super sticker, super chat. Thank you, everyone that liked this video as well. All of that helps. Before we sign off, if you haven't already done that, please hit the thumbs up at least once. Just once, actually. You can't hit it twice. It's not like Facebook. That will help. Just a reminder, I'm going to be back on the weekend. Let me give you a link to all of the September readings. Here they are. So if you want to join me, feel free to click that. I'll be back with Cancer on Sunday. The rest of the Sundays this month are actually going to be collective readings. So I do a mid-month collective, I do a bonus, and then I do an end-of-month collective. And I've placed each one of these on Sunday so everybody can join. I hope to see you guys there. And I'm live every Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday, unless otherwise indicated on the schedule. And sometimes I throw periodic shorter readings on Instagram. I'll be doing one here in the next few days. So if you haven't already followed me on Instagram, you should do that. And sometimes I hop live on TikTok, but more on Instagram. So here's my Instagram link if you would like to join me there. And all my social media ones are here if you need the official channels. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Great weekend ahead. And again, you can use this for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Lots of love and light to you. Thanks for working on yourself. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for your support. Take care. Bye-bye.